Hello, this is Trish Plutz. I'm an advisor for the online Master of Science in Electrical Engineering program, and this is our webinar regarding program specializations. Welcome and thanks for attending. We also record this for use in with future students so that they can listen in and learn more about our program. So I just wanted to go over the agenda, which we will do our introductions. We'll talk a bit about the online Master's in Electrical Engineering program and give you a snapshot of what it looks like. Choosing a specialization and the elective courses that you're allowed to select. And then we'll go through some questions and answers from the students who are in attendance today. So as I mentioned, I'm your advisor, senior enrollment advisor for the master's program. You can dial in and talk with us at the number listed here. Usually you will receive a phone call when you put in an information request from your advisor. Please reach out to that individual, or you can certainly call me. My name is Trish, and my extension is 5122. And now I'd like to introduce our program director, Dr. Jeff Dill, and ask Dr. Dill to just talk a bit about himself and his background.
Okay, first of all, thank you for attending the webinar. Welcome. My name is Jeff Dill. I've been a faculty member at Ohio University since 1988, so I'm old. I got my PhD from the University of Southern California, and I actually worked in industry for about 10 years before I became a professor, working on design and analysis of communication systems and signal processing for tactical military applications. You can read the resume, and I don't need to repeat what's written on the paper, but I've been the director of the online MSEE program at Ohio University for about 5 years now. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Dr. Dill. And I just wanted to go over our program snapshot. And the program is an advanced degree for professional engineers looking to specialize in one of 6 concentrations. We are regionally accredited by the Higher Learning Commission and consecutively ranked by U.S. News and World Report. And regional accreditation is the highest form of accreditation in the United States. The degree consists of 36 credits and can be finished within 2 years, completely online. Also, please note here that you can take 1 class at a time if you wish. Many engineers do choose to do that, and that's totally doable for you, and you would finish your program in 4 years. There is no GRE required for qualified applicants, and you should speak with your advisor about who are qualified applicants to have that GRE waiver. We do not have a thesis required for the program, and that's part of the reason why we're hosting this webinar today, is to talk about why that is and what you would do in lieu of a thesis. And the tuition is $708 per credit hour for in-state residents, and in out-of-state it's $727 per credit hour, which is not a big leap, and it's a fine education that you'll be receiving from upper-tier engineering college for a very, very reasonable price. We do have 3 start terms, spring, summer, and fall, and for deadlines and application information, again, you would work with your advisor. Next slide. Now I'm going to hand it back over to you, Dr. Dill, so you can go through the curriculum requirements and the specializations with us.
Okay, so our MSEE degree online requires you to complete 12 courses or 36 credit hours. The curriculum consists of 2 foundational courses that everyone is required to take, and we'll go into the details of these in a few minutes. And then you choose 7 specialization courses from one of the 6 tracks we have in the program. And in general, a master's degree is a specialized degree program. Our on-campus students specialize and do a thesis Instead of requiring a thesis for the online students, we eliminate the thesis requirements, but we add some extra credit hours. So that our on-campus students would take 30 credit hours of class work and then 6 hours of thesis work. So by doing that, you don't have to come to campus and disrupt your life to come to campus to do a thesis. And we also, in the online class, we have, you can choose up to 3 elective courses outside of your track, and those are chosen from the other tracks in the program, and that allows you to sort of tailor your curriculum to particular interests you have or particular job requirements that you might have. Next slide, please. So the specialization tracks we have include what's listed here. We have a track in autonomous unmanned vehicles. We have a track in communications and DSP. We have a track in computer engineering. We have a general track, which you get a little bit of everything. We have a track in electronic navigation systems, and we really have a lot of world-class faculty and curriculum in the particular area of electronic navigation systems. We also have a track in micro and nano devices and systems. And we'll talk a little bit about each of these as we go along. Next slide, please. Okay, so the foundation course is required for all tracks. You have to take an engineering writing class, which is very important. Most engineers hate writing, along with me, but it's critical to your career to be able to write and express yourself effectively. If you do great work and can't communicate that, then the work won't be appreciated. We also have a course on computational tools for engineers. This is really a MATLAB course, but we also use MATLAB as a context to sort of review a lot of the advanced mathematics that some of you might be rusty on, like matrix algebra and differential equations and probability and various things like that are built into the MATLAB course as a review of undergraduate mathematical content. So every once in a while we have a student who already has really extensive experience using MATLAB on their job. And if so, you can get out of that class and replace it with another elective. If you provide evidence that you're already a MATLAB expert, we do that on occasion, and a few students have actually done that. And what you'll find is through the curriculum, over half of the courses in our curriculum use MATLAB extensively in the specialized work that they do. Next slide, please. So first we have a track in autonomous unmanned vehicles, and you can see the list of courses that are required for this track. So if you've got an autonomous vehicle, first it needs to know where it is and where it's going, so you need some navigation courses to do that. And then it needs to know how it's going to get there, and so you need control systems classes for that. And then typically the vehicle is not operating in isolation. It's communicating with a base station or with other vehicles, and so you need some communication engineering. And so we put all those together in a track for autonomy. Also, I forgot, embedded systems is an important course because, any autonomous system is going to have multiple embedded computer systems that operate different aspects of the vehicle. And then this includes ground vehicles as well as air vehicles in the curriculum. All right, next slide, please. Our next track is communication and digital signal processing. So we talk about wireless communication, as well as network communication and internet kinds of things, and also signal processing. Signal processing is used in a variety of applications. I've done a lot of signal processing work in defense and military systems, things like medical imaging, interpreting MRIs and X-rays and EKGs are all require digital signal processing tools. So a lot of our students come from medical-related technology fields for that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of application for digital signal processing. Information theory and coding deals with data compression and error correction and being able to transmit bits efficiently on noisy channels. Next slide, please. Okay, computer engineering focuses on the design and implementation of computer systems from the process, from multiprocessor systems down to fabrication of chips at the device level. So you take courses in micro and nano device fabrication, digital circuit design, which deals with FPGAs and VHDL language to design digital circuits. Then we get into computer architecture and also networking. So how do you network multiple computers together in an efficient way? Nanoelectric devices gets into, again, chip level design of new devices and sensors. Next slide, please. We have a general track that sort of takes a little bit of everything. If you're not quite sure what you want to specialize in, or if you're just looking to expand your background a little bit, our general track allows you to take some courses from all of the different other tracks and even tailor a program to a particular interest or a particular job opportunity that you might have. Next slide, please. Electronic navigation systems this is a real specialty of Ohio University. We have an avionics engineering center on campus that's been in existence for over 30 years, and they do some state-of-the-art, cutting-edge research in GPS and differential GPS and various kinds of navigation systems. And so we have an extensive set of courses that in electronic navigation that very few universities can match. And again, I should have said this earlier, but the content of all of our online courses is identical to the content of all of our on-campus courses. It's the same material and the same requirements. And the navigation in particular, we have several navigation classes that lead to real expertise in the area of electronic navigation, which is a growing field in not only commercial aviation, but using for drones. It's used in precise agriculture. It's used in military systems, obviously. So there's a growing demand for people with this kind of specialized knowledge. Next slide, please. So we also have a track in micro and nano devices and systems, and this is all at the level of chip fabrication and fabricating devices at the micro and nano level, clean rooms, and this is all stuff I don't know very much about, but we have other faculty who are expert in this area. But it's how to fabricate chips and interface them and make them do what you want them to do. So it gets into a lot of the device physics of how transistors and chips work at the detailed physical level. Next slide, please. We also, again, each of the tracks, you can choose, you take the required courses for the track, but in order to add breadth or just produce, expand your knowledge in a particular area of interest, you can choose 3 elective courses from the other tracks in the program. So you can sort of tailor your degree and your specialization to a particular job requirement or just a particular personal interest that you may have. Next slide, please.
Okay, well, thank you, Dr. Dill. Thank you for walking us through that. I always learn something when I listen into you and your webinars. It's interesting to hear about all the specializations. I know it resonates with the engineers who are listening in today and the ones that will be listening in the future. And it's great to see how everything's laid out and how the electives can be worked into your program. But as far as some questions, I'm going to throw this back to you, Dr. Dill. A student is asking, for someone who had gotten their bachelor's in electrical engineering in 2005, how well can he or she adapt to the learning requirements of this online MSEE specialized in wireless communications and communication and digital signal processing?
I would say that we have a number of students who are doing exactly that. We have a lot of students that got their bachelor's degree in 2005 or earlier, and they, you might have to spend some time reviewing some of your undergraduate courses, like in Signals and Systems, which is one of the key courses for a lot of our tracks. But I would encourage you that that it can be done, and it is being done by a lot of our other students. We also accept students into the program that have STEM degrees in other fields. Like we've got students that have a math degree, and they might need to study up on some basic principles before they start our program, but we've got students with math degrees and physics degrees, mechanical engineering degrees, just for example, or computer science degrees, and with a little work, they're doing quite well in the program. And we have students who are, got their bachelor's degrees well before 2005, and they're doing well in the program as well.
Right, and I can add to that as well that we had a student webinar recently that we can send out, or usually send out with preliminary information, and it's an excellent webinar with our students who are currently in the program, and they talk exactly about this and what they needed to brush up on, how they do that, how the students help each other. And I know a lot of students utilize the Khan Academy, and most engineers are real familiar with the Khan Academy and Coursera to do some brush-up work on certain areas. When you hit a bump in the road, you can always go there and kind of go through things again if needed. Okay, so then another question was, are there labs requiring physical attendance? And this is true for all specializations. We do not have any labs that would require you to come to campus. I think there is one circuitry course where you may be sent something out and you need to complete it and send it back in, but it's a one course and it does not require you to come to campus.
Yeah, I would add, yes, you don't need to come to campus for classes, but several of the courses have what I would call simulation labs. So you use MATLAB or some other simulation tool to build and simulate various kinds of systems. And in particular, the digital design of digital circuits class, there is a development kit, and it costs less than $50, but you buy your own and you develop labs and make the hardware work at home, and then submit the software through through our Blackboard system for grade, but you can do all the development work at home.
Okay, great. I do have a question about, no, I'm sorry. It was about elective courses, but I believe that was asked before we got to the elective section. If you do have additional questions about electives, just reach out to your advisor. The one that I think we can address here is, can electives also be selected from other graduate engineering programs? And the answer to that is no. This is an electrical engineering master's program, so we don't do cross-curricular courses as far as I know. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Professor Dill.
No, that's what you said is correct. However, we have some students who either started a program at a different university or they have some transfer credit that they'd like to transfer in from another university. And so we can accommodate up to three courses of transfer credit, provided they meet our requirements and they're legitimate graduate level courses, and you got a good grade and you haven't used them to satisfy the requirements of another degree. So I'm willing to review any transfer courses you might have. I should also say that a few years ago we had a student in our program that was really interested in power systems and wanted to take a couple of graduate level courses in power systems, and we didn't have that as a specialization, but we were able to work out a way that he could take a couple of courses at a local university and get graduate credit and then transfer those credits into our program. So, we're willing to work with things like that. But we don't have graduate level courses in power systems that are in the online format.
That's correct. Yeah, I know that comes up from time to time, and if there are elective courses or courses you've taken and have not used them towards another degree, we can work with a student and go through the graduate college and the electrical engineering department and see if those courses can be used towards your program. And if you did want to do specialization in something we didn't offer, such as power, you can take those at another school and then go ahead and finish your program with us. As I mentioned before, the tuition at our school is extremely reasonably priced. So, a lot of schools are just north of $1,000 per credit hour, and we're in the 700s. So you can see that it may be to your benefit to take most of your program with us and just take a few specialization courses at another school. So I do have an international. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go. I was just agreeing with you.
Oh, okay. Well, I had a student asking about international requirements, and I'm not able to provide all of the documentation required to substantiate their undergraduate work in another country. I want to just recommend that you work with your advisor, talk with us individually about that, and we can detail to you what you do need to have in order to be acceptable in the program. That's what we're here for, so just reach out to us and we can talk with you about that. And then I think what they're saying, communications and digital signal processing programming course can be taken as part of the curriculum. It says NEC and then it's maybe engineering lingo that I'm not familiar with. It's C percentage, 2 percentage, B percentage, 2 percentage, B. Does that make sense to you, Professor Dill?
If they're asking about programming languages, it's always good to know C and C++, and a few of the courses use those programming languages. But the courses that I teach, we always use MATLAB for most of the programming, and like in the digital signal processing course in particular, we write programs in MATLAB.
Okay. Good enough. Thank you. And then another question, can you recommend what courses or topics to preview prior to enrolling in the master's if I got my bachelor's in 2005 to be better prepared? And I can send you, and I will send out to you, the minimum course requirements and the prerequisite courses so you can go through and see what it is that we recommend that you take and have under your belt. And they're typically, if you have a bachelor's degree from an electrical engineering undergrad program, you're well prepared for our program.
Right, you're well prepared. But if it's been a while and you need to review the two courses that I always recommend that become really important at the graduate level. First one is you had a course in signals and systems, or some schools call it linear systems, but that probably happened in your junior year, and it's a very difficult course the first time you see it, but it gets easier once you deal with it more and more, and that becomes important at the graduate level, so that's worth reviewing. And the second course would just be matrix algebra or linear algebra. It goes by different names, but it's how to represent systems using matrix math and how to do matrix operations, which is inherently what MATLAB is good at. So those are the main things I would review from your undergraduate curriculum.
Okay. Then we have one last question, and then I just want to recommend that any other questions you may have or that you come up with in the next day or so, please go ahead and reach out to your advisor, reach out to me, and I'd be happy to go over anything that you need to know or find the answer for you. And that's what we are here for, is to advise you and help you determine if our program will be a good fit for you. But the last question was, do we accept undergraduate students with degrees in electrical engineering technology? And the answer is most of the time, and what we would need to do is take a look at your transcripts and your resume and see what courses you had, the grades you have. So the answer is most of the time, yes, we can.
Yes, most of the time, yes. And I look for students with an electrical engineering technology degree, I look at the curriculum and I find that there's a lot of variation. Some technology programs have a lot of math, and some of them don't have as much math as I would like. But if you've had, 2 or 3 semesters of calculus and some matrix algebra, and if there's sufficient math in the program, then you'll do fine. But there's not really a standard, and so some programs have a lot more math than others.
Okay. And then one question that just popped up that we can answer is an applicant given credit for a professional engineer's license? And the answer is no to that question. I'm sorry. And then
I would say that I do look at that. As far as admission, I mean, there's no course credit, but having that license enhances your. First of all, the GRE is always waived if you have a PE license, and it enhances your application as far as being admitted. That's an important thing, and it outweighs low grades and a lot of other things. And I also look at job experience when I'm evaluating applications. So those a lot of times you might not have the greatest grades as an undergrad, but the things you do after you graduate more than make up for that.
Yeah, I've seen you approve people from, like you had mentioned, from a lot of different backgrounds, STEM backgrounds and other mechanical and industrial engineering disciplines, and the work experience weighs very heavily, military experience as well. So I've learned along working with Professor Dill over the years that, there's a real wide array of students who are eligible for our program. So all of that is considered when you're being accepted into the program. But as far as canceling out any of the courses you would need to take in order to achieve your degree, then it would be no. But for admission, it would be yes, definitely. But
right.
yeah, and then one other question was, how difficult would the program be for a software engineer?
If you're say, so you've got a degree, a bachelor's degree in computer science, and if you've taken the math that I see in most computer science programs, you would do well. You might have to do some review on basic things like system, linear systems or signals and systems, which I talked about earlier. So you would have to do some catching up, but you can do that on your own on particular topics. But we have people with computer science degrees in the program that are doing well.
Very good, very good. Well, yes, and we have one participant who said to thank Dr. Dill for his time today, and thank you indeed. It's been really helpful for you to go through the different specializations and learn a little bit more about what you'd be doing in each of those and exactly, how the program's laid out. It's going to be very helpful for us and students going forward. So I thank you all for joining us today, and thank you, Dr. Dill. We appreciate your time and your expertise, and we'll be signing off.
Okay, thank you as well. And thanks again to all the people that attended.
All right, thank you. Goodbye.